Well, I was going to talk about one UK rapper, but it wasn't going to be Skepta. But he just dropped a track titled Friendly Fire. So here we are. Friendly Fire is a track where he just kind of goes off on people, specifically Joyner Lucas and Ebro. If you are as confused as I was when I first saw this come up, let me give you some sort of context. So about a week ago, Skepta went to Twitter and tweeted, I want to clash an American rapper anyway, finally get this UK-US rap debate sorted. I don't know what rap debate he's talking about because I don't see the vast majority of hip-hop listeners really caring about this. But I will say there are a handful of people out there, you know who you are, who don't listen to UK rap because they don't like their accent, which is also something he addresses at the very beginning of the song. But he mentions this, then he goes on to say, oh, it might be cool to go against Rocky, which would be kind of weird because A$AP Rocky is not that type of rapper. I don't feel like he has that sort of energy in him, but if he does, sure, why not? But then Joyner Lucas comes in. He's like, hey, bruh, let me get some. I've been waiting for this. Like, Joyner, no, you have not been waiting for this. You have just been waiting to get more and more attention from your corny ass rhymes, but here we fucking are. You got attention. Skepta gave you 2 bars like he said he would. Anyways, that was rude. This track is really just kind of continuing the same energy that Kendrick wanted to carry at the very beginning of this whole beef with Drake before things got crazy. And the same energy that Joey was carrying when he was battling Daylight and Ravon and everyone jumped in. So I'm excited to see if this goes further because there's a lot of dope rappers from the UK. And obviously in the US, we have a bunch of dope rappers. One thing that Skepta also mentioned before I forget is that a lot of rappers from the US don't necessarily pay attention to what's happening in the UK. Whereas a lot of rappers in the UK always have been paying attention to the US because, you know, that's kind of where it all came from, right? So they have a lot more to reference, a lot more to learn from, and a lot more to kind of poke at. US rappers don't know shit. They don't even know where London is for the most part. But anyways, getting into the track, Friendly Fire, the cover has a fist similar to, or it's familiar. It looks like a Street Fighter fist, either Ken or Ryu, which he does mention later on in the track. But he starts off the verse starting with a shot at Ebro. I don't know what beef he has with Ebro. I don't honestly pay attention to a lot of interviews these days. I'm just too busy focused on myself. But he's like, yo, you just trying to get clicks. I said what I said. That happens. On one hand, platforms are going to try to get clicks. That is kind of the goal. Drive attention, drive traffic. On the other hand, sometimes people just let people talk and they don't really fully understand what is being said. And then they put it out and they're like, oh, this is not what I intended to be the response. Speaking from experience. Anyways, but he goes on to mention the Ken and Ryu bit. But just like Ken and Ryu in this game might have to go to war with your best friend. I don't know if he's talking about anyone in particular here. He could be talking about Rocky just because they seem to have a good relationship. I don't think that they're best friends. Prior to that, he says,
now I'm reaping the benefits. This ain't beef, that's expensive.
He's not trying to have a beef. He's trying to have a battle. There's a difference. You can battle people without making it super personal or taking it personal. And that is kind of what happened with the Joey Ravon Daylight beef. That was not, I mean, it was a battle. It wasn't a beef. Like, they were going at each other. Yes, they got a little personal, but at the end of the day, they do respect one another. And at least from what I hear, from what I've heard, I don't know any of them personally. He goes on to talk about how people from the US, I think he's just speaking in general, I don't know that he's speaking about anyone in particular, don't necessarily have the awareness that UK rappers are doing big things. Like, he goes on to mention, he's like, oh, I've got another set with Fred again, which he just dropped the tracks Victory Lap and Victory Lap 2. He said they just sold out the Paramount. He says, like, hey, like, these are accolades. These are big things. And while I also have noticed that a lot of US artists, when they go overseas, they sell out as well, this is still a big deal. Like, it's a big deal to sell out, regardless. Time to wipe the smile off Axe face. Time to say chat W Skepta. I thought that was funny. Anytime we can go after academics, it's a good day, a good time. The chorus talks about, oh, so underrated, underestimated. Sure, in some eyes. But to the people who know, Skepta's been doing this. I don't know Skepta that well, but I do know that people really fuck with him. People love Skepta, and he's got a following for sure. Second verse, he starts off,
Joyner Lucas, you bastard. Why you rap like you studied at Harvard?
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Is it talking about how Joyner just tries to be lyrical miracle, or tries to put himself into political situations, or tries to be very woke, but turns out that he's just kind of being corny? I don't know. He's one of those rappers that's just very technical. He has abilities, but he's not that interesting to pay attention to. Like, I don't care. Or the rest of the verse, sorry, does continue to do little pokes at Joyner. Couldn't walk a mile in his shoes. I'm the hardest. I train animals. You don't really want this. Like, because Joyner himself was like, hey, let me in on this. He's like, yo, we might let you in, but you don't want this. You don't want this. Like, in the UK, they train differently. They train with the animals. And then he just kind of mentions accolades again.
You haven't had a hit song for the longest. Too concerned with your clothes. Should be focusing on flows. Where I'm from, I'm a goat. Where you're from, you're a joke.
Skepta has been around. He's definitely had a hit song. Joyner, you could argue, has also had a hit song, but at the end of the day, he is too focused on other things, it seems like, at least from Skepta's point of view. Or maybe this is not even about Joyner. It could be about anybody at this point. But he's saying, yo, you're too concerned with your appearances. You should be focusing on the raps. Where are the raps? Get better. You trash, basically. Because where you're from, people think you're a joke. I'm over here, I'm a goat. And then also, I guess it is about Joyner just because of the next lines.
Talking like your lyrical miracle, oh please. Where I come from, that's a default speed.
Sure. Yeah. Everyone's definite. I've realized recently, or learned recently, that everyone's definition of lyrical miracle is different. For some people, it's just rapping fast and putting big words together that sound cool. I always thought it was just overly lyrical music. But the more you know. Overall, this track isn't anything too crazy. Skepta obviously is throwing shots. It's nothing too serious. We shouldn't be taking it too seriously. But it very much sounds like a intro to maybe something. We'll have to wait and see and find out eventually. But I'm interested. I do always like when we get rappers rapping again. That's what was so cool about what Joey was trying to push and what Kendrick was pushing originally. But yeah, we just gotta wait and see. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of this track. If you've listened to it. If you haven't, it's like 2.5 minutes. You got 2.5 minutes if you listen to me already. And also, while you're down there, like and subscribe to see more rambling and content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.